I remember King T. He was tearing me up. My hair was kind of shot out. I had long hair. I had I had to wear perms and stuff, right? And he'd say, I remember a couple of those freestyles and stuff, a couple of them battle raps that we said. I remember King T. He looked at me and said, "You got a nappy perm. You look like you smoke CERN. So just get away from me, you skinny licking worm." He was tearing me up.
Be very careful who you talk to, because you'll never know who the informant is, who the cooperating witness may be, and you never know somebody who was a friend today may have been flipped the night before and become your enemy tomorrow.
About humanity, putting truth in these lines, while they busy feeding lies. When you got that tunnel vision, gotta open up your eyes. Wake up and go to sleep. Man, I'm praying all times. And to my guys, ain't no other side. This for my brothers, I'ma pray with y'all shine. Lock the door. Go ahead, lock the door. Lock the door. Go ahead, lock the door. Yeah, you already know.
Depending on the lessons, some people eat, some people learn. But the game is going to send you big.
Professor Melly Mel Hood Postman, back with Mixmaster Ken. Ken, explain to me how you, yourself, Todd, DJ Vegas, Scotty D, King T, and of course MC Eiht and other people, how did you guys, because to me you guys could have been a super group, but I know you guys worked together, but at times maybe you was on solo projects. But how did all that come about? And what was the music like during that time? Because now you guys are specifically writing music for the streets, and neighborhoods and drug dealers and so on and so forth. Because it was something that was actually, the product was really good and it was going, and that's, for me, say if I came to you and, man, I need my name on the tape, I got my name on it, and then bam, it was out there. I'm riding around, I'm balling, and everybody hearing my name, but. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay, when they started. Okay, now, I'm gonna start with King T. I don't know which one exactly came out first, if it's Eiht or King T, but I know when King T came out with Payback.
King T, drunk again.
Yeah. King T is my favorite old school rapper. He's one, I would say one of my favorites, but he's...
Did he really drink a lot? Let me ask you that.
Yeah.
OT.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But King T, and he was real little. He's skinny. He's skinny, and he's to drink, and he could rap, man. He could write. When King T came on the scene with Payback, and it was dope. You know what I'm saying? And Scotty D, I think discovered King T, him and Pooh, you know what I'm saying?
DJ Pooh?
Yeah. And if I'm not understanding, Scotty D and Todd, they brought him the Spade house and introduced him to Spade, you know what I'm saying? He heard of Spade, he was a fan of Spades and stuff, and Spade took him up on his wing, you know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, man, so I want to be part of the Compton posse. I wasn't in the Compton posse. I don't think Ty was neither. That was DJ Var and Spade and King T, you know what I'm saying? And whoever else he had with him or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I remember the first time I met him, I was over Spade house, and he was out there, you know, laughing, talking to stuff, and I'm talking to him, but I'm not knowing he's King T, you know, and they said King T was over there, and I said, I think I asked Joe or somebody, I said, where King T at, you know, Spade, you know, at that time Spade had moved out of 151. He live over in Nutty Block now on Northwood Street, right? And you know, so we all be in this front yard, and they said, that's him right there. You just talking to him. I said, that's King T, you know, like that, right? You know, I'm trying to put the image with the voice and all those stuff, right? Then I'm like, man, I didn't know you was King T. And he was like, I'm only here for advice, you know, like that, right? You know, he said some, you know, something like that, right? You know, and you know, he had his little drink, Silver Satin or whatever he was drinking or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You know, but that was his medicine, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, shoot, you know, once he got his drink, he ready to go. He ready to go. He ready to go on that mic and shit, or you know, that pen and pad and stuff. And it was a rap.
What about MC Eiht?
MC Eiht, man, I'm gonna tell you something. I knew Eiht was coming. I knew Eiht was coming one day because they had a, I remember, not the Compton swap meet on Long Beach Boulevard, not that big one. They had a Compton swap meet on Compton Boulevard in Central.
Used to be Shop
Right. Yeah. Right next to the Rexall drugstore. Yeah, right. And in the parking lot, you know, they used to have carnivals there and stuff like that, right? You know, my sister and brother and them used to take me to the carnivals, right? But it was like a rapping contest, a rapping thing gonna be there, you know. And I forgot who called me, but they asked me would I be a judge, you know, to these rappers, you know, these upcoming rappers that was gonna, you know, have a little contest, right? I said yeah, and I remember it was me and one of those Jeffs, like either General Jeff or Def Jeff, I forgot which one it was, and it was a girl. She was a rapper, but she died like right after she came out. I think, you know, she was sick. I don't know if she had sickle cell or whatever she had. MC Trouble. Todd really put her on the scene. You know what I'm saying? You know, and she was dope, man. You know. She would have been the next MC Light at the time, you know, whatever. You know, she was real dope. She came out with a song, with an EP, I think, or whatever, and in a video, MC Trouble.
MC Trouble.
MC Trouble, yeah.
Okay.
And it was me, her, and one of those Jeffs was you know, we were like, you know, sitting there judging, right? So Eiht, he might have been the maybe like the fifth or sixth rapper to get up there. Do his thing, right? It was like, I feel like, it was like, yeah. It was like 10 of them that was rapping, right? And when he got up there, we all looked, we was like, he's gonna win it. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if he remember that. He gotta remember that. Next time I talk to him, I'm gonna ask him, you remember that? You know, when you won that rapping contest, you know, and then the next 4 or 5 of them rap, but we stuck with him. He won first place.
There it
you know,
is there, man.
He won first place. So when he came out, you know, and he had a video and stuff, you know, on the box or whatever, you know, that was, you know, that was big for Compton. That was big for Compton. You know what I'm saying? When he did that, you know what I mean? And West Compton came right behind him, King T with bass. You know what I'm saying?
Doom.
You know.
Doom. Doom. Doom.
Tila was making,
doom, doom.
That's
you know, that brass construction.
Yeah. Because like, you know, people was like making singles and then make another single and make another single and make another single. You know, at the Payback, I remember Tila, he, you know, made a song called "The Coolest." That was dope. Then he made bass, you know, and then you know, after that, you know, I guess he, you know, hooked up the album and stuff, you know. And my favorite on there was Act the Fool. I love that record, Act the Fool, dude. I said, man, it's my favorite rapper, you know. But we used to always battle each other, you know, over at Spade house, you know, Spade that rented a little spot on 156th Street, you know what I'm saying? And it'd be me and Todd and Spade and LeVar and King T and DJ Pooh, right? DJ Pooh, he and big shout out to DJ Pooh. DJ Pooh.
Shout out to DJ Pooh.
Yeah, you know, me and Todd come over there. He said, we gonna have a rap session. you know, like that, right? You know, he had was, you know, he had was rapping against each other, you know, battling each other and stuff, you know. We about to have a rap battle and stuff like that, right? And me and Todd always been on teams. It'd be me and Todd against King T, Spade, and DJ Var.
Okay.
You know, and I remember winning one of them and stuff. King T would win most of them and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, all of us had a freestyle rap and stuff, or whatever. That's the town. Man, shoot. I get on there. I have everybody laughing and stuff because mine was like so comedy and stuff. But King T too. I remember King T. He was tearing me up. You know, my hair was kind of shot out. I had long hair. I had like, you know, I had to wear perms and stuff, right? And he'd say, I remember a couple of those freestyles and stuff. A couple of battle raps that we said. I remember King T. He looked at me and said, "You got a nappy perm. You look like you smoke CERN. So just get away from me, you skinny looking worm." And he was tearing me up. He was tearing me up, right? and he'll weigh some beer on his feeler suit, right? And his name Tila, right? So I said, "You want to rap against me, Tila? Ha, don't make me laugh. You go on a dirty feeler. Then go take a bath. I see your fans call you King T. I call you Toby talking about you going to pay me back. Well, how much you owe me? Yo, you don't want to battle. You know." Then I get to rapping on Spade and shit. Right? Then I start on LeVar. You know. Then Spade to say something. LeVar was dope too. LeVar used to tear me and Todd up, right? Then Todd would get on it. Todd tear Spade and LeVar up and stuff. Then he'd get King T and stuff like that, right? Everybody has skills with that, you know, like thinking of something, you know, when they start rapping and stuff.
Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When we lost Spade,
Oh man, yeah.
what year was that?
That was in 2005.
What was the circumstances? I think it was an accident.
Yeah, motorcycle accident. It tripped me out because back then that's when people had church phones. And I was with my cousin. We was in Hemet going to Moreno Valley, and one of his homegirls had called him and said, "Hey, Coke, where Mixmaster Ken at?" And he said, "He right in the car with me." And I could hear her say, "That wasn't Ken, that must have been Spade." He said, "Put Ken on the phone, you know. He can hear you, you know." So she was chirping and stuff, and I was chirping back. Said, "Hey, your homeboy was in a bad accident over here, on Wilmington, like 134th or 132nd, somewhere over there, right?" Said, "They got yellow tape and stuff. They don't know if he's living or dead." I said, "For real?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Dang." I said, "Oh, all right." You know, so I called his mom, because I knew their numbers, you know, that 605 number, 605-0980. That was it, you know what I'm saying? I called that number, and I think they was, I don't know if anybody answered the phone. And then I called Todd. I don't know if he knew or if I told him, but those are the two that I called, you know. And then I found out about it, man. You know, it tripped me out. But you know what's strange but true? See, like a lot of people think that he passed away on March the 15th because that's on his obituary, right? But I remember his mother Lala said was telling us before we go up to the church, everybody stop by the house, right? So me, my sister, and one of my nieces, we had stopped by the house, and when the funeral directors that came there, you know, dropping off the obituaries and stuff, I remember her shouting at him like, "He didn't die on the 15th. He died March the 16th. This is a misprint," and all those stuff. I remember that. You know what I'm saying? But when I see it on Facebook and stuff, when they say him and Nate Dogg died on the same day, I just leave it alone or whatever. You know, that's what, you know,
So it's
whatever.
a misprint.
Yeah, it's a misprint, but you know, but that's what happened though. You know, but the trip part about it is this. When you mentioned Compton, Spade was the first rapper out of Compton. Eazy-E put Compton on the map. In '95. I believe it was something like February the 24th, they said Eazy-E went in the hospital, right? On March the 16th, I lived in Moreno Valley in '95, right? And Todd was over at my house. We was like playing dominoes or something. And Todd's beeper went off. So he went to answer it, like, "Kenny, which one of these phones can I use?" Because I had two lines. I said, "Either one, you know. You could call long distance on either one, right?" You know, I had no block on none of them. So he called, and he was talking to his publisher. I think Todd and Eazy had the same publisher or something, and he was telling them about what's going on. And Todd was like, I'm looking at Todd, and he's saying, damn, for real? Damn. And tears were kind of like dropping out his eyes. And I'm like, Todd, what's going on? He said, hold on for a minute. He said, Eric about to die. I said, what? I knew he was talking about, because we always called him Eric, you know, and it was the trip, man, you know, so he said, all right. He said, well, me and Kenny gonna come down there, you know, like that, right? They wanted him to go down to Caesar Sinai, you know, and talk to some of the people, you know, because Todd, you know, he's the, you know, like he went out of town with Eazy and them, you know, like on some of them tours or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? So Todd asked me if I wanted to go with him. I told him I couldn't go because my kids gonna get out of school at 2:30, and it's like around noontime, right? And the next door neighbor had a doctor's appointment, so she couldn't watch him, right? I said, I'll just tape it, you know, when y'all go on the news, you know, because he said they want to put him on the news with this, right? I said, no, I can't go. I said, you know, so he left, you know. He had that, they had Compton Forever, you know, when he was with Thumb Records, and he took me on tour with him and stuff, you know, and he told me that it's going to be on news at 4 o'clock. Sure enough, at 4 o'clock, we was watching the news, and they was talking to, I think Ice Cube or somebody, or Lazy Bone, somebody, and then Todd came on there. I said, there you go right there. And I had VCR taping and stuff. It went like, oh, there you go. It wasn't nothing about excitement and stuff. We like tripping, right? You know, and I'm like, damn. I said, damn, this shit is crazy, right? So that was March the 16th. 10 days later, Eazy passed, March the 26th, right?
That's a day before my birthday.
Right? So check this out. My understanding, he went in the 24th of February. That the first time they announced that was March the 16th, and then 10 days later, he died, right? That's in 1995. Guess what? 10 years later, I just figured this out, you know, this brainstorm, right? And I'm wondering, did anybody else look at this and figure it out? 10 years later, Spade gets into a motorcycle accident. February the 22nd or the 23rd is one of those days, right? He went in the hospital, right? On March the 16th, Spade died. Then 10 days later, March 26th, they had his funeral.
Wow.
Strange but true.
Man.
Strange but true.
You still have the...
Matter of fact, this right here, let me put this up, sorry. It kind of faded. It was green letters because that was Spade's favorite color. I had some green house shoes on and had this written in green, right?
Put the front
OG Mixmaster Ken, and then OG Mixmaster Spade, rest in peace.
Bring it over a little bit.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, right here.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I still have that.
Still
one.
have it.
Yeah. This one right here, this is when I went to the Lowrider hangout with my homeboy Gizmatic. I had a regular shirt on, right?
I know Giz.
Yeah, Giz like, man, let's go. Hey, before we go down there, man, let's go down here to the Linwood swap meet and you know, get you one of those shirts with your name on it. I said, all right, you know. So I did, you know, and put that on there. OG Mixmaster Ken.
Okay,
you know,
got it.
and then when they gave me one of them little awards back in August of 2019, I wore this one. You know, I put my little
5 minutes of fame
with Mixmaster Ken, right? And then on the back, it got OG Mixmaster Ken on it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a trip, man, because I'm gonna tell you something. You know, like I said, like I wasn't the one that made an album or made videos and stuff like that, right? You know, my name was ringing bells off the street. People know me. There's a lot of people that don't know what I look like because I was not all in the news and on TV and all that old stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know, so like, what made me, like, you know, like when I go places and I wear something with my name, they might say, oh, that's played out, or why that nigga wear that, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? When DJ Var got killed, I just got out of jail, and you know, I did like 8 months in Banning. You know, I've never been to prison, but like, you know, I cut my hair off. And I never had no bald head and nothing like that, right? So I cut it off, so like when I got out, it was short, it was growing back, right? And I had on, and I had a lot of weight on me, because I was real little when I went to jail, you know? In them little 8 months, you know, I was healthy, real healthy and stuff, you know? So a lot of people didn't know who I was, and plus my hair was short, you know what I'm saying? So when I went to LeVar's services out there in Inglewood, you know, at the cemetery. You know, they had it in one of those chapels, right? Well, Spade was in the feds out of state, because I remember his mom had read a poem that Spade had wrote and stuff, whatever. And I was sitting right there by Tila, I remember, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't have my name on it. I had on like some off-white pants and a shirt, you know, like that, right? And afterwards, I was hearing that, damn, Mixmaster Ken wasn't even at his funeral. But Mixmaster Ken was there, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So I made a point, like when I go places, like when I went to Badass funeral or whatever, you know, out there in at Rose Hills or wherever, you know, I wore this, you know. They said OG Mixmaster Ken, you know what I'm saying? Not the floss or whatever, or for no attention or whatever. It's just that, you know, I know a lot of people know of me, but never, you know, don't know what I look like or whatever. And I feel that you know, I'm not a bad person to where I gotta hide my identity and whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, here it is, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Man. I appreciate it, Mixmaster Ken. This has been very informative. It's a very good interview. I hope everybody appreciate your knowledge and history of Compton music and how hip hop came to Compton and how it expanded to where it is today. So with that being said, shout out to Mixmaster Ken, Professor Melly Mel, the Hood Postman. Lock the door. Lock it.
Cali finest, baby. Proof of grind all the time. Music money. Got a dollar sign. Hub City. I'm a street nigga. Streets fuck with me. I'ma keep pushing products till the fans get me. It's guap off top. Diamond Cartier. That nigga Wall won't give a pro bitch the time of day. They see me climbing. They see me shining. That's hard work. Proof of grinding. New money got me tipping in that 550. Ali, bad man, and I'm so pretty. I got that tech with me. That's my hater sprayer. Go big, grind now, nigga, play later. What can I say?